Everyone laughed at a waitress, helping a fallen old woman until they learned she was the billionaire's mother. The Golden Fork restaurant was the kind of place where people came to be seen. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Soft jazz played in the background, and the guests wore clothes that cost more than most people's monthly rent. On a busy Friday evening, every table was full, and the noise of clinking glasses and loud laughter filled the air. Among the staff rushing between tables was Maya, a 26-year-old waitress, who had been working double shifts for the past 2 weeks to pay her mother's hospital bills. She was tired, her feet ached, and her smile was held together by sheer willpower. But she never let it show, because Maya believed that how you treat people in their hardest moments says everything about who you truly are. She had learned that from her grandmother, and she carried it like a quiet flame inside her chest. It was almost 9 in the evening when the front door opened and an elderly woman walked in alone. She was dressed simply, wearing an old beige coat and carrying a small handbag that had clearly seen better days. Her white hair was neatly combed, and she walked slowly, carefully, the way people do when their knees no longer trust the ground beneath them. The hostess at the front glanced at her with barely hidden disinterest and pointed her toward a small table near the kitchen, the worst seat in the house. Next to the noise and the heat, no one else paid her much attention. She was the kind of person that a room full of important people looks right through. Maya noticed her immediately. She brought the woman a glass of water without being asked and smiled warmly, asking if she needed anything else. The woman smiled back, and for just a moment, something soft and tired passed across her face, like someone who had not been treated kindly in a long time and had almost forgotten what it felt like. Then it happened. The elderly woman stood up to excuse herself toward the restroom, and her foot caught the edge of the chair. She stumbled and fell to the floor with a sharp cry. The entire section heard it. A few people turned their heads. Some laughed nervously, others whispered to each other, and a man in an expensive suit muttered something about the staff not watching their guests. Nobody moved. Nobody except Maya. She was across the room in seconds, kneeling on the floor beside the woman before anyone else had even set down their wine glass. She checked. If anything was broken, spoke to her gently, helped her sit up slowly, and shielded her from the staring eyes with her own body. She did not think about how she looked. She did not think about the table she had left waiting or the manager watching from the corner. She thought only about the woman on the floor who needed someone to care. A couple nearby snickered. One woman whispered loudly to her companion that the old lady probably should not have come to a place like this. Maya heard it. She said nothing. She kept her focus entirely on helping the woman back to her chair, making sure she was steady, bringing her a warm cup of tea, and sitting with her for a few extra minutes just to make sure she was all right. 20 minutes later, a sleek black car pulled up outside the restaurant. 3 men in sharp suits walked in and moved quickly toward the elderly woman's table. The entire dining room shifted. People straightened up, conversations dropped to whispers. One of the men was Richard Hale, the founder of Hale Industries, a man whose name appeared on skyscrapers and whose company employed thousands of people across the country. He was known as one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the city. He knelt beside the elderly woman, took her hands gently and said, "Mom, I'm so sorry I'm late." The room went completely silent. The woman who had been laughed at, pointed to the worst table and ignored when she fell, was the mother of the most influential man in the room. Richard stood up and looked around slowly. Then he turned to Maya. His eyes were steady and serious. He said, "I watched what you did on the security footage from the car. You were the only person in this building who acted like she mattered." He paused. "She does. More than anything I have ever built." He spoke to the manager that night and left a generous donation for the staff fund. But what changed Maya's life was not the money. It was the letter that arrived at the restaurant 3 days later. from Richard Hale's foundation, offering her a full scholarship to finish the nursing degree. She had quietly abandoned 2 years ago when the bills became too heavy. Maya cried when she read it, not because of what she had received, but because she had never helped that woman expecting anything in return. She had simply done what she believed was right, the way her grandmother had always taught her. Kindness does not ask who is watching, it just acts, and sometimes the world finds its own quiet way of answering back. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Kindness True. Stories for more real and heartwarming stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Your support means everything and helps us keep sharing these beautiful moments of humanity with the world.